Hi, this is Luis Souza from rawveganpower.com, and I'm very honored to have a very special, charming, and sexy guest, Mimi Kirk from Young on rawfood.com. Here we are at her blog, and there are lots of things that you need to know if you want to live health and live longer. Do it with Mimi Kirk. And I'm so happy and excited to share this with you because she is launching around the world, international raw food recipes for good health and timeless beauty. I'm really curious to see everything she has to share in this book. And here we are in her YouTube channel, Mimi Kirk's YouTube channel, where she just passed the mark of 1 million views. It's really fantastic. And in the last year, she was in many countries like India, France, Spain, and many other things that she will share about this book now with us. Well, I'm going to turn back here to my face and welcome Mimi Kirk. I'm very happy and excited to have you here today. It's so fantastic.
So much. Thank you. I'm so happy to be with you today. So far away, so many miles, and here we are looking at each other.
Yes.
Right, it's really fun.
You are in California, I am in Brazil, and we are talking like we are in the same room.
We're sitting in my living room, right?
Well, I would like to know, how did you start in the raw vegan diet? Because I think it's when no one was talking about that, right?
Well, I'm not saying that I'm a newcomer. I'm more of a newcomer to the raw food world, but I've been a vegetarian and vegan for the better part of 40 years. Then I thought I was pretty healthy. Occasionally I'd go off and I'd eat, the standard food and wouldn't feel good. And I'd immediately, within months, go back to my raw vegan, my vegan vegetarian diet. But I was at my doctor's visit and my doctor told me my blood pressure and cholesterol were high. And I was so surprised because I thought I ate pretty good, although the 2 years previous I had not been as careful. And he handed me a prescription, and I knew that's not what I wanted to do, is to be on drugs. And I was 69 at the time. I'm going to be 75 this year. I was 69, and I was a late starter in the raw movement. But once I tried it and I changed everything. My cholesterol went down 26 points. I had no arthritic pains anymore. I woke up, sprung out of bed like I was a young girl, and I just felt fantastic. So I knew that was the way I should eat. And I didn't ever think about going back to eating any other kind of food after I started raw food, because once I learned to fix beautiful dishes, I absolutely love the food. So here I am today, feeling not any older than I was when I started. I'm feeling younger than when I started.
And I really believe that you are. And 2 years later, after starting the raw vegan diet, you were elected the sexiest vegetarian,
right,
of the world. Right? It's fantastic.
Yes, over 50. And I was
50.
Over 50, and I was the oldest one in the competition. The other women who were in the same competition as I was, they were in their early 50s, so they could have been my daughter. So I was very surprised when I won. It was surprising to me, but I think my age played a big part. I think when someone sees somebody in their 70s and they're healthy and vibrant and energetic, and they see that, I think then people are very attracted to say, hey, aging is a different picture than they portray it to be. We can be healthy. We don't have to have a walker. We don't have to be bent over. We can still look good and feel good. That's the main thing to me. Yeah, if you feel good inside, you look good outside. And it's not a beauty I'm talking about. It's an energy. I think that's what shows on people who are healthy. A brightness in the eye, a smile, a good, walking step, and you just portray someone who is healthy, and I think that's very attractive to people, and I think that's how I actually won that contest.
For sure, I really believe that. Well, and I saw another interview of yours, and we were talking about the problem that is that people have health issues that people get from processed foods. And I was wondering if you noticed that these processed foods became worse and worse with time during the years. Can you
Well, yeah,
share
food.
this with us?
You mean food in general, how it's changed over the years? Well,
Yeah, processed
our
food.
food,
Yeah,
our food today is much of the food today here in America is genetically modified. It's altered from its original state. They take the seed and they alter it so they could spray the fields with
right.
the chemicals and it still doesn't kill that plant, but the soil is completely different. So today I think we have to be very careful about who we buy from and the food we buy. And I buy organic food and I try to shop at the farmers markets or a health food store where I know there's local organic food. I feel much better eating that way. I don't want to consciously eat chemicals. So I think food in
Right.
that way has changed. And then everybody knows when you go to the market and you walk around to buy things in there, if you do, all those boxes and bags and cans and everything that's processed is full of chemicals, and all the good stuff is subtracted from it. I sometimes can't even believe that they allow that on the food shelves because people work and they're very busy, and it's so much easier for them just to grab a box or a bag or a can and go home and fix something like that. But in the long run, I think it does play a lot on the health, and I think that's why there's a lot more diabetes and cancers and obesity and all kinds of health issues, because people are buying food that's been processed and that's not healthy. And it's an investment in your body to buy good food.
And how was the quality of these processed foods in the 70s, the 80s, the 90s? It became worse or not? I think so, but I'd like to know it from you because
Well, I didn't worry about in the early days, in the early 70s, when I started to eat a vegetarian diet. I wasn't as aware of organic. I think that things got worse over the years, and here's why I think that happened. Let's look at people who eat meat, for instance. The meat produced and the chickens and the milk and all of that, they've speeded up the process. They give those animals, besides the horrible treatment, they give them hormones and antibiotics so they stay healthy, the antibiotics, and they give them hormones and they try to speed it up. Like a chicken that would take 65 days to grow now takes 45 days. Milk
that's right.
production is up like 40, 50%. So they're forcing food to grow faster and with chemicals. How could that be good? And it is getting worse. Their excuse is they have more people to feed. Their excuse to me is that they just want to make more money. They want to, produce things very quickly to make more money. And it's the same thing, I think, with all the packaged food. They are allowed, these major companies are allowed to put MSG and chemicals and fortify things. They take out the vitamins to process it. And then I always love when you see a label expires in 2016. I mean, what, if it's preserving that food, it's not going to do the same for you. It's going to do the opposite for you.
For
So
sure.
food that lives that long can't be fresh. I mean, if you put vegetables on your countertop, they're going to rot very quickly. That's food. That's real food. That's healthy food, real food. But if you see something that's preserved to last longer, you have to know it's got chemicals in it. So they get by with more and more of it all the time in the manufacturing of foods. And that's why I say you have to stay away from all that packaged food and eat fresh food. Something that actually will just, compost and you can put into your composter when it gets bad. I don't eat packaged food. I think that's probably the worst thing. So yes, I think you're right. Over the years, I think food definitely is been degenerated. I think it's very bad. Even the seeds we buy now to plant, we have to be very careful because the seeds have been
That's
messed
right.
with. They've been altered. If you don't buy heirloom seeds, you're not sure what you're getting. I don't know about where you live, but there's so much food here that we buy and they say it's seedless watermelons, seedless
Yeah, we
fruit.
have them too.
And
Yeah,
that's been altered. Yeah,
for
that's not
sure.
natural.
We
So if
like
you
it
see a
because it has no
watermelon,
seeds, but it's not good.
not good. And you buy those little,
Yeah,
they have little round watermelons and they say there's no seeds in them. People think that's a great thing. Don't buy those. Buy the long watermelons that have seeds in them. You know, you
for
want to have
sure.
seeds in your food. I don't know in your country, but they do have to label certain things here. They don't have to label if it's genetically modified as yet. We're trying to pass that law right now. But there are numbers on the food. There are stickers that say, like here in America, if it starts with a 9, it's organic. If it starts with an 8, it's not, it's conventional. And so they have some markings. We just want them to mark that genetically modified food so we know what we're eating. But if you go to farmers markets and you talk to farmers and you ask them how they grow their food, and you find out that they picked it that morning. It wasn't trucked in from somewhere else. It wasn't picked when it was green. And then when you get it home in 2 days, it rots, you know, because it's was picked too early. I think you have to know your food source. I think it's very important to know your food source, especially if you have a family with small children.
Oh yeah, sure. And well, I'm sure our audience, the feminine audience here, is very curious about your beauty secrets. So I'd like you to share with us some of your basic beauty routine. You know, what you do in the morning, maybe in the evening, what you do to be so beautiful at this age.
Well, I think everything comes from the inside. The food you eat, the attitude you have, the kindness you have about the world, the dreams you have about life, the excitement when you wake up in the morning. I think that keeps you very beautiful inside, because beauty isn't about, you know, having blonde hair or having a certain feature or something in your face. It really is an inner thing that shows in somebody's face. Somebody could not have the perfect features. You know, my eyebrow, one's up and one's down. You know, it's not like, you know, like I got these beautiful features, but I think what I do is radiate happiness and joy. So here's some things I do. I'm very natural about the way I take care of my skin. I use 100% natural coconut oil. I love it on all on my body. When I get out of my tub, I put that all over my body. I don't buy any products that I use in my bath that's been harmed animals. I use biodegradable, the healthiest I can for my soaps. But as far as on my skin, that's what I use. I use coconut oil. I find it 100% coconut oil. I not only use it on my skin, but I actually use it when I make chocolates and different foods. I put it in my smoothies. It's a very healthy oil. Years ago, it got a bad rap, but all of us who eat it now know that it's a very, very healthy thing for bring down your cholesterol. It keeps your skin very moisturized. The other thing I think has been the most helpful thing for me, if someone didn't do anything else, and someone asked me what's the one thing I'd recommend, and that's a green drink, a juice that has
Oh,
celery and cucumbers and apples and carrots and spinach, something with dark leafy greens. I think green drinks, either you put them in your blender with some water or you can just juice them, then you don't need water. I think green drinks are the most amazing thing for your skin and your overall feeling. So I think that is really part of a beauty treatment. A lot of raw foodists say they don't sleep very much. Not me. I like my 8 hours if I can get it. I really think sleep is very important. Your body regenerates when you're sleeping. You wake up to a beautiful green drink in the morning. You do something good for people every day. You're happy. You wake up with something you're excited about. And I think that as overall makes you very beautiful. And you know, for women particularly, it's loving yourself and being confident with who you are. You know, I have wrinkles on my face. I'm 75. I'm going to be 75. I have wrinkles on my face. Big deal. Does that make me not attractive? I don't see it that way. I'm aged well. I don't mind
sure.
having that. And I think women who are in their 40s and 50s who start to see a little line and they panic, you have to let that go. If you're eating healthy and you're doing the best you can, your body will change. It does change. You can't stay line free your whole life unless you're doing something. But I think the earlier you start taking care of yourself, I think you can help prevent some of the things. Reversing it's another story, but I do think if you start early, your 30s or 40s, and you started eating well in a raw food diet, I actually think you can prevent a lot of lines on your face. I have them, maybe because I was a late bloomer, but they don't bother me. I love them all. I love all my little lines on my face.
And you are giving a huge lesson here to many women because most of them are so stressed about being beautiful
Right.
and not having lines all from their 20s. It's incredible that they are so worried about this at being so young, right?
I think it takes a lot away from somebody when they feel that way, because all these women who are like trying to meet the love of their life, people like to be in relationships, and these women who are insecure about themselves, they do not put out, I love myself. So you're like a magnet. You draw to yourself what you put out in the world. If you put out negativity about yourself, you'll draw that kind of people to you. If you put out positive attitude towards yourself in the world, you'll attract that kind of attitude. So we have to stop ourselves from thinking negative things. We just have to love ourselves. We have to look at ourselves and love our skin and love the way we look and be happy with who we are. And I think that shows out there. And then I think you're a light and you attract more people. But if you're always worried about how you look, it's an energetic thing, and I think people can feel that. So
makeup isn't enough, and makeup won't be enough, right?
No, and a man's not attracted to that, I don't think. I think women always are saying, oh, they love beautiful men, love beautiful women. Well, of course, but the beauty is very different than what those women are thinking. It's not the perfect, Angelina Jolie face, that beautiful heart-shaped face. It's not that kind of beauty, although she's an amazingly beautiful person. But the thing about her is that she's a good person inside. And so her beauty comes out second-fold because of the kind of giving person that she is, the kind of person she is. So that's what we have. We might not be able to change the structure of our face or do anything unless you want to get plastic surgery, but we can change how we feel inside and how we look at life. We're responsible for that. We're responsible for what we put in our mouth. We're responsible for what comes out of our mouth. We're responsible for how we see things and how we feel things. That we can do something. And I think that's what we can actually work on. We can be very active on working about bettering ourselves every day, moving in the right direction every day. And I think that's important.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And what do you do in your exercise routine usually? Do you have some tips to give to women?
I hide my face on the exercise.
You don't do it so much.
I'm trying to be better. I'm moving in the right direction all the time. I like to walk. I think it's very important. I mean, there are times when I do yoga and I do it straight for months and months and months, and I walk and I'm so good. And then I'll go away for a week or something will happen that changes my routine. And since I don't love exercising that much, it takes me months to get back in it again. So I'm trying to do better all the time. I'm going to, join this yoga class this next week and try to keep myself more disciplined at it, because I do it for a long time and then I'll stop. I think it's very important, though. Everybody could walk a half hour a day. I like to walk an hour a day, but anyone can walk out the door and walk back. They can walk during their lunch at work and walk back. I really think that I would even be in better shape if I was more into my exercise. I think I could do better there. So that's a place I'm trying to improve. Some people are really great at exercising and they eat terrible. They eat junk food, yet they exercise. I see people exercise and they still smoke. So everybody's got their little thing they're working on all the time. But I'm very active, and I have a lot of stairs in my house up and down, and I have a garden that's on all levels. So I'm actually moving all the time. I'm out in my garden, I'm walking up the stairs, I'm walking, I have a very steep driveway I walk down every day. And so I'm very, very active in that way, but it's not a practice exercise, which is what I'm trying to get more into. So maybe next time we talk, I won't be hiding my face.
That's fantastic. I really appreciate that, because you seem to be the kind of person who really enjoys living. You are okay. You don't need so much exercise, because people are so stressed in that sense as well, right? Oh, you have to
Yes.
do lots of exercises all the
Well,
time.
yeah, and it's funny because I think that, and I think probably with a lot of people, the older they get, the lazier. Like, for instance, I have stairways up and down my house. I don't put something at the bottom of the stairway and pile it all up for when I go up. I take it up when it's time to go up. I take it down when it's time to take it down. I don't wait to do it. I say, oh, good, I have a reason to go upstairs or I have a reason to come downstairs. And when I go to the market to shop, I park, I don't look for the first spot next to the market, at the farmer's market. I try to walk a block. I try to park away from things. I try to do things that force me to move rather than the lazy part. But I notice that older people try to make it, excuse me, older people try to make it easy on themselves. They try
I
to find that
see.
first parking space. Oh, if I could park in front of the store, that's a great thing. I don't look for that. I look to park away because it gives me an excuse to walk. So I do get my kind of exercise very naturally, and it's not planned, but I do want to plan more because I think yoga is amazing. It really stretches out your body. It massages your internal organs. I think it's very, very good. I think yoga is a great, great thing for men and women both to do. So that's my favorite type of exercise besides walking. But I
That,
do get a lot of movement in. I went to I have two older sisters, two elderly sisters, and one's just 2.5 years older than me, and one's a little older, and they're still living, but they take a lot of pills. They both had cancer, diabetes, heart problems, thyroid problems, all the things I don't have because I take care of myself. And for my elder sister, I went to find her a senior home to live in, and I
oh,
saw people my age and younger walking with walkers. And I wonder when I see those people, if they would have taken better care of themselves, they wouldn't need to be in a place like that. It's not bad for her. She's like a hotel. She has her own room. They fix her meals for her. But it's not the kind of life I'm looking for. I want to travel and be active forever, as long as I can. I think we're meant to do that. So I do think attitude and food and not buying into being old is very important. Women who hit 50, they think, oh my God, I'm old. I'm going to go through the menopause and, oh, my life is over. And you can't think that way. Mine's just beginning. I'm very excited about what's next. I'm looking forward to my next career. I don't even think about my age. So I wish that for everybody, really. I wish it for everybody. And it does take commitment. You can't just say, oh, I'm going to just live long if you don't do anything about it. So I think commitment to yourself is very important.
I am excited hearing you. It's fantastic. It's inspiring and motivating. It's fantastic. Well, you said that you love to travel and you want to travel more, and we know, and I'm really excited because have a scoop here. You are going to launch your new book on July, and we are making the interview now. Well, can you share something about the book?
Yes.
Something that you can share with us?
Yes, I'd love to share about the book. I didn't plan after my first book that I'd ever write a second book. I really didn't think so. I just thought, because it's really a lot of work. You have to test every recipe. I usually don't measure when I cook, so I have to go back and measure everything, a tablespoon or whatever it is. I usually don't measure. So the first book took quite lot of work, and I just poured my heart into it, and I thought, that's it, first book. Then the publishers came and asked me to write a second book, and it was like, oh no, I wasn't sure I wanted to do it. But my boyfriend took all the photos in the first book. He did an amazing job, and since I knew if I did another book, he'd be taking the photos the second time around, I asked him, would he be interested? And he said, I don't know. It was really a lot. It took us a full year of our life to do it. I said, what if we travel and I do international recipes? Because I love food from around the world. I love all the flavors of India and Spain and Italy and Greece. I love all those flavors. And, you can duplicate that in raw food. But I wanted to see what recipes I could come up with. So I mentioned to him, what if we travel and we go to 7 countries and we do the book? And he said, oh, I like that idea. I'll do that. We can take beautiful photos of the countries we went to. We can meet up with friends. We have friends all over the world through my Facebook pages. I have friends everywhere in places I never even heard of. And I decided that I would put it on my Facebook page where we were traveling. And people got in touch with us and said, please come. We'd like you to come speak here, or can we meet you? And I have your book. Can you come sign it? Or so we traveled to 7 countries. We went to Barcelona. We went to Marseille, France, and Aix-en-Provence. We went to Berlin, Germany. We went to Italy and Greece. We came home and worked on the book, and then we left again for India and Thailand. So we met people all along the way. Everywhere we went, we had friends who were raw food people who were interested in health. So I spoke. I did lots of speaking engagements and gathered up recipes and talked to people about the food that they eat and learned about the spices and went to all the farmers markets. And it was an amazing trip. We met amazing people. We had such a good time. And I came home with ideas, these fabulous ideas for recipes. So the book is set up for each country, each of the 7 countries. It opens up with a beautiful picture of that country. There are pictures of people we met along the way. It's kind of a recipe book and a travel book at the same time. Because, as you know,
very cool.
Traveling, there's nothing like it. It broadens your mind about the world, about people, how much we are alike all over the world. You know, how much we care about our families, how much we love life. And being in other countries, you find people that are just like you. And it just broadens your idea that life is without, you know, the world is without borders, really. We're all one. And so that's what I wanted to bring. And I wanted to encourage people to travel. I said that if you don't travel, I'm bringing all the recipes home for you to make from the book. But if you can get your passport stamped, there's nothing like it. It's really fantastic. So we had an amazing time, and hopefully everybody will really get a feeling of what it's like to be in those countries. I described the best I could what I saw and what I felt in that book. So it has a little different twist than my first book. But of course, it's all about raw food and healthy food. So.
Well, and mixing travel with food, and you only visited 7 countries until now. You can make other books as well, right? In the future.
Yeah, yes. Right.
You could come to
something
Brazil.
new. Well, you know, a lot of people, you know, want to get a book published, and I suggest if you really do, you should start saving recipes that you make on a daily basis and not wait. And, you know, get all the proportions right and so forth. Because if you make things like I do, I just cook, and every time I make something a little different, I throw a little extra of this in or a little spoon of that. I never write it down. So when I go to do the book, I have to start from scratch. So if you're going to write a book, I think you should start saving the things you do and make some of your special recipes. And the other thing is, recently I've loved food. I've been a foodie forever, and raw food is so creative to me, and it's so alive, and it's so fresh. No animals are harmed in cooking. It makes you feel very good inside that you're eating a vegan diet and that you're eating food that's local, and you're doing your best for the environment and your health at the same time. It's a very, very good feeling, and it's so creative. And I finally, after all these years recently, went to a chef school. So I've been trained at Matthew Kenny, who's famous all over the world as a raw food chef, and a culinary school. So I just had my chef training. So I'm now actually an official chef, and not just a cook.
Congratulations.
Chef Mimi. So that's really great. And I really did learn a lot of knife skills and other things that I thought were fantastic. And I do usually these YouTube videos, and I had stopped this last year while I was doing the book. I didn't do many of them, and I'm starting back again this week. I'll be doing my first one again of my YouTube video, showing people how to make different dishes. And I think it's been very helpful. People really enjoy watching how food is made. It makes it easier than trying to just read the book to see the dishes. So I'm always very happy to give recipes away and show people how to make things. That's what my goal is.
And have you ever cooked before being raw? I mean, did you like to do that before going a raw diet?
I loved cooking. I was a very good standard American cook.
Oh, really?
I made great foods earlier in life. Not my mother was not a good cook. I didn't learn from her. I learned later by eating. One time, I was 17. I got married at 17, and my husband took me to a French restaurant, and it's the first time I'd ever seen food cooked at the table. They were making steak Diane and crepes, and it's like, what is that? That's the first time I ever saw like really good food. We just ate normal, simple foods at home. We didn't go out to eat very much. And once I saw that, I went out and bought all these recipe books, and I started experimenting. So I've always loved to cook. That's why I didn't think raw food would be for me, because I love food so much, and I love to cook, and I was a very good vegetarian and vegan cook. And I thought raw food, there's no cooking involved. It's just eating salads. That's what I thought. But I make lasagnas and pastas and burgers and all kinds of great food. So raw food, you do prepare food, and you do warm food. It's not all cold food. You use a dehydrator to warm things, and I make warm soups when it's cool weather. I sprout when we don't, I'm in California, so I'm very lucky to have things in good weather all year round. I can have something in my garden, but there are other people in cold climates. You can sprout your foods. You can buy foods when it's in season and freeze some things that you can use later. But even all the root vegetables and things during winter, there's fabulous raw foods that you can make with that. So I think it's really fun trying to figure out new things. I love coming up with new recipes all the time.
I asked this question to you because I was never interested in cooking. And neither preparing my food for me, But when I started on a raw vegan diet, I started to realize, well, I need to prepare food for me, and now I'm enjoying so much. It's something new for me. I never did that before with cooked food, but now I'm beginning.
Really great. Oh, that's really great. I think that's an important thing you mentioned, because that's not something we learn in school, really. I mean, there are cooking classes, and mostly the girls will take that, but I don't even know if they have them anymore. But we must learn to fix our own food, because eating out is not normally healthy for us. There's salt and all kinds of things in the food. We must learn to nourish ourselves and to cook. And I find it so creative and artistic. A lot of people don't do it. They think it's trouble. But once you do it, like even for you, you find out it's quite fun. Starting with something and then turning out a dish and then actually eating it that you fixed for yourself. It's self-love when you cook, and it's self-love it's love when you're cooking for other people. That's how I feel. My food is full of love. I know when I feed somebody, I cooked it with love, and I know when they're eating it, they get it, they can feel it. So I think there's a spirit behind cooking. And fast food restaurants don't have that. If you eat in places where it's a chain restaurant or fast food, they're just trying to get the food out the door. They don't care about the food that they buy. You have to start with good ingredients. They don't care about, I'm going to have a little herb garden so I can grow some spices for the food. You really should really appreciate the food. I think that this body, people are very spiritual, and I think that the body is meant to be taken care of. And when you fix food for yourself and you care about what you put into it, you're being a very good spiritual being. You're really doing your body a favor. You're doing the world a favor. I think it really helps you connect. I think it makes you a softer, more loving, kind person to understand where food comes from. And when you grow something yourself, the connection to the earth is so amazing. I like to walk barefoot outside because it grounds me to the earth. You could feel the earth. We can't just be cut off and be just involved in the plastic world all the time. You have to get back to nature, and wherever you can, no matter if you live in a big urban city or what, you can grow a little pot of something. So I think that's important for everybody to do that.
And talking about people's habits, as you are talking now, how do you see the future of the raw vegan movement?
I'm very positive about it, because I'm in California, the home of the beginning of everything.
Right.
And I'm in San Diego, but in Los Angeles right now, there are vegan restaurants, raw restaurants are popping up everywhere. Major hotels on the menu have vegan food. Restaurants now in Los Angeles, so many of them, where there's like a good chef, they know in order to bring people in, There's so many celebrities and people who are interested in being healthy. They're not going to draw those people into their restaurant unless they have some choices for them. So more people are putting organic on the menu. They're putting vegan on the menu. They're putting raw. It's not an odd thing. They're all around the country. I find that I can find a juice bar or raw places. It's not foreign. It's new in some places, not as big as in Los Angeles, and New York is pretty big, but it's starting to spread out. When I first became a vegetarian in the 70s, people didn't even know what that was. And if you said vegan, they thought that was like some kind of disease,
Yeah.
It was like, they thought it was weird. But now things are growing very fast. It's speeding up. Juice bars are everywhere in LA. Wherever you go, I see it on television. They're saying, oh, this is a healthy meal. This is the way we should cook. We should cut out butter. You could get rid of diabetes. You could prevent cancer if you do this. Everywhere on all the mainstream television shows. It's up to people to make that choice. And, some people are lazy. They don't want to make the choice. And they say, we're supposed to eat what's ever in the market. And then other people are really moving quickly. I think the thing I notice, a lot of people don't change until they actually get sick. They wait until
Yeah, that's true.
something happens. And then it's like, oh, gee, I didn't know this was going to happen to me. So a lot of people wait, but then they switch their diet and they can still be healthy. And other people probably will never change. Not everybody is going to, but I envision a world where everybody is vegan. And raw
Fantastic.
as much as possible. That's what I see. And I think it's okay. Some people don't eat all raw. They eat mostly raw, but they eat some other cooked foods. My boyfriend is vegan. He's not all raw. So I fix vegan food for him and I'll taste it to make sure it's good. But I don't really sit down and eat a bowl of chili because I'm raw, except if I eat raw chili. But I'll fix him chili and I taste it to make sure it has enough seasoning. I mean, I don't make myself wrong for eating something that's not raw, completely raw. I just want to make sure I eat vegan. But I think people have to do the best they can, have that green drink in the morning, try to eat a big salad every day with as many veggies as you can get in it. And if you need to have some, slow roasted vegetables or some quinoa at night, that's fine. Just eat fruit, eat vegetables, and eat as much as you can in the raw world, because I think that's what really keeps you really healthy. So I'm an experiment on myself, and hopefully you'll come to my 100th birthday.
Fantastic. I really love to talk
Maybe
to you.
my 110th birthday, I don't know.
Fantastic. By the way, my next question. What are your plans for the future? Besides
Well,
launching this book this year.
Well, life is always a surprise to me, and I think I'm in a place where I don't make plans. The days just tell me, the days direct themselves for me. I wake up feeling good. Whatever the day is to be for me, that's what I do. I don't know how any plans, because I never expected to be voted sexiest vegetarian over 50. I never expected to write a raw food book or a second book. So I think I'm open, and the right things come to me. I just let things come to me. I don't try to promote myself. I stay on Facebook and I give recipes out and let people know what I'm doing. But it's not to promote myself. It's to help people get healthy. It's not for me. I'm not looking for a business or a job or a career or anything. I want to be able to help people. So I have that attitude in life, and whatever comes next, that's what will be next. And who knows what that will be. I am going to learn to play the guitar. That's one thing I want to do. I just took a chef's course at 74
Really?
years old. So I don't know. I want to keep learning more. I want to improve my Italian. I speak very little Italian, and maybe, work on my French. Whatever comes my way. But I always think learning new things is a great thing. And life just, because I have such a good attitude, things just come in front of me and I go, oh, that's good. I think I'll do that. That's what I like to do. And I think that my life hopefully be spent that same way, just in the moment and not trying to control it all by planning. Because I think sometimes you control and try to plan everything, and then that's not what you're supposed to be doing. You don't listen to the voices that are telling you something different. So you go in this direction when if you would have let it go, you would have gone in that direction. So I just try to accept things and be more natural about the way I look at life, and you know, just try to be loving to myself and to others, and to cook good food.
That's a great
Because we
life.
all love to eat good food, right? Last
Right.
night I made raw chocolate chip cookies, and they came out of the dehydrator warm this morning. We had those for breakfast. They were delicious. So my boyfriend loves when, you know, he loves the food. He doesn't cook. He does a lot of other things for me, but he's not a handy guy in the kitchen. He doesn't care for the kitchen, and I don't care about taking care of money. So he does that, and I cook. So we make a great pair.
Sure. Well, last question, Mimi. In one sentence, just one sentence, how do you define the power that you get from being a raw vegan?
I'm not really sure what you mean by that. Can you word that a little differently for me?
You could say my raw vegan power is, or the,
You mean what raw food gives to me? What it does for me?
yes, what kind of power you get from raw foods, yeah.
Well, I wake up every morning thinking I'm 20. It,
I love that.
what more can I say? It makes me feel young. Until I pass the mirror, I think I'm 20 years old. You know, I wake up and I bounce out of bed and I feel energetic and healthy and young. And then I pass the mirror and I go, who is that? You know, but I think it gives me a tremendous power of being ageless. That's what I would say. The power of being ageless.
Oh my God, fantastic. Uh, The power of being ageless.
Yes.
Love that. Thank you.
Okay.
It's a blessing to have you here. It's fantastic. I learned so much. I'm really
Thank
humbled
you.
and honored to have you here. Thank
I'm
you so
so glad
much,
you got in
Mimi.
touch with me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and now, thank you so much, Mimi. You who are watching the video, go to youngonrawfood.com and see more of Mimi Kirk. Go to her YouTube channel as well. Many good videos, and she's going to make more from next week, as I knew right now. Thank you so much, Mimi. See you later. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.